Multisensory integration is the study of how we integrate information from the different sensory systems. So with our eyes we see, with our ears we hear, with our nose or olfactory system we smell. All this information comes together to influence what we ultimately perceive and how we act on the world. Sensory integration dysfunction has been hypothesized in people with autism for decades. And in fact, there are many sensory therapies that focus on facilitating sensory integration. But remarkably, there's been very little empirical work to actually test this hypothesis. Along with my research partner, Dr. John Fox, we use recently developed technology to understand multisensory processing in the brain. We have spent a decade or so developing these tools, and it's in the last couple of years that we've begun to translate this to try and understand what might be going wrong in the brain of the person with autism. To test the hypothesis that multisensory integration differs in autism, we presented sounds and somatosensory stimuli, little buzzes to the finger, and these were presented either together or alone, and we recorded EEG. We expected that the brain's response would differ when these stimuli were presented together, and that is our index of multisensory processing. Our study was published in the August edition of Autism Research. The lead author is Natalie Russo. Our central finding is that we find support for the notion that multisensory integration is in deficit in children with autism. What we found in this study is that these inputs begin to be integrated by 100 milliseconds in typically developing children. That's very rapid. Whereas in children with autism, they're not integrated until about 300 milliseconds. What this suggests is that in typically developing children, these inputs are automatically put together. But in children with autism, it may require much more effortful processing. Based on these initial findings, it would seem that therapeutically what you'd want to do is you would want to minimize the amount of sensory input that's coming in to the individual with autism so that they aren't overwhelmed. That would be a first step. A second step would be to develop a treatment that helps them to begin to automatically integrate the multisensory units of an object or an event.